All right, what's up, YouTube? This is BoxingWave. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. So I just watched a Jamel Herring fight against Lamont Roach Jr. Pretty good fight. A lot more action in the second half of the fight than I expected. Okay, but the fight went as I predicted yesterday. I didn't think that Lamont Roach would throw his hands enough to win this fight. I think he just doesn't like the lead. He doesn't throw a lot of punches. He relies too much on his counters. And fighting Jamel Herring, a guy that's more experienced, a guy that has experience fighting him, with Bo Mack in the corner yelling out everything that Lamont Roach was about to do, I think that was very helpful. I hear Bo Mack saying more things in one round than I've seen trainers say the entire fight. Okay, in the corner. All right, so Bo Mack was very, very helpful, screaming out everything. I think Lamont Roach's corner was just too many guys back there. He had his father, he had Joel Diaz. I think it was just too much going on in the corner. And even without that, Lamont is just not an aggressive fighter. Like I said, he doesn't really like to lead. He likes to rely a lot on his counter punching, you know. So I didn't think that he would win this fight. I figured it would go to a decision. I figured it would be pretty close and competitive at times. But the problem is Lamont let way too many rounds go early on. Okay. As far as the scorecards, I thought 117, 111, which two of the judges had. I thought that was a little wide. I was thinking more like 115, 113. 116, 114, as wide, the widest you could really go, I think. But Lamont Roach let too many rounds go early on. Okay, I think when he started to pick it up in the second half, I think it was a little too late. Um, that knockdown, all right, that knockdown, I think it was very 50-50. In real time, any other ref, most refs would probably have scored a knockdown. The ref didn't score the knockdown. They showed it in slow mo. It didn't land really flush. It kind of grazed his shoulder and his head. Okay, it wasn't really a flush punch, but even though the punch landed, it did land and he did fall from it, even though it wasn't flush. So either way, I wouldn't have been mad if they scored it in a knockdown. I've seen them score punches that didn't land even that clean, a knockdown, just because the fact that you landed a punch and you fell from it. So I wouldn't have been mad either way. They didn't score the knockdown, so it was cool. It definitely didn't land that flush. But yeah, Lamont Roach Jr. just took it to him too late, I think when he hurt Jamel Herring in that 11th round, the way he set it up was perfect. He actually started with a feint. He stepped in low, all right, and then he set up the jab and came over the top with the right hand. And he should have been fighting that way much earlier. If these guys happen to run it back, it's not going to be ran back. But I'm saying if they were to run it back, I think Lamont would probably be a little bit more aggressive. But at the same time, Jamel Herring was definitely slowing down in the second half. I think he was up so early, so much within the first 6 rounds. He kind of relaxed in the second half of the fight, and Roach started to rally back a little bit at certain rounds. Not all rounds, but certain rounds he rallied back and started to take the lead a little bit more and started bringing the fight to him. Okay, but for the most part, outside of some check left hooks, when Jamel Herring would lunge in at times, he would land some clean check left hooks or countering over Jamel Herring's jab at times. He really didn't land that much. Jamel Herring, he fought it a very good rangy fight. When he did step in at times, he would throw some combinations to the body, which was good, and then would step back out. But he controlled most of this fight just based off his jab and following up the jab with the straight left hand up top and to the body. Okay, and he pretty much controlled the fight with that. And Lamont, just like Bo Mack was screaming, you kind of knew when he was going to step in and try to do something, you know? So he kind of he became predictable. When he started to be a little bit more aggressive towards the other half, I think he had success based on Herring just kind of being a little tired, and not being as aggressive and not being as sharp with the counters on the second half of the fight. So I think some of the success was just based on the fact that Herring um, slowed down dramatically in the second half, in my opinion. But good fight. Uh, as far as see, the problem is 130, and I woke up this morning. I didn't. I looked down my feed. A lot of people were talking about Devin Haney and his performance, KSI Logan Paul and stuff like that. The YouTube community really didn't make videos on this fight. I just did my prediction video yesterday, but a lot of people on YouTube just don't really didn't make many videos out there. I didn't see almost none based on this fight. A shout out to T Street Controversy. I did see a video of him. He covers almost every fight. But there's a lot of channels not really talking about this fight. But the thing about 130 is not really a popular division. It's not really my favorite division. It's usually a stepping stone. Like when you had the big names, like you had Lomachenko, who was at 130. He kind of breezed past 130. He was at 126. He went 130 for a short period of time, and then went right up to 135. And now he's unified at 135. And you had Tank Davis, who won a title at 130 at one point, but there was a point where he was stripped because he didn't make weight, and now he's fighting at 135. He just moved up. All right, so you got some of the guys from 126 that's gonna move up. You have Oscar Valdez, who just moved up. Shakur Stevenson, at some point he's gonna move up. Some of the guys from 126 is probably gonna move up. So 130 right now is not one of my favorite. Personally, is one of my least favorite divisions because the guys really don't unify there. You have Burchell, who fought, in my opinion, he fought the best fighters at 130. Okay, outside of Lomachenko and Tank, who was just there. Everybody else he faced. You know, um, so I think Burchell is by far the best guy at 130. You have Cancio, who just won the title not too long ago. You have Tevin Farmer, who's still there, who's a very, very good fighter as well. And you have Jamel Herring. Jamel is with they're both with Top Rank. Him and Burchell are both with Top Rank. I don't really think Jamel Herring can compete against Burchell. But if he's a champion at this point, you're a champion. I expect unification. That's just, it doesn't matter if you're ready or not. It's about you being a champion. If you made your way up to winning a title, that means you have to fight the best, in my opinion. So I would like to see a unification. I don't know if Burchell is going to stay at 130 and move up to 135, but if he is going to stay at 130, even though I believe he fought the better fighters at 130 that weren't champions, not all, Francisco Vargas wasn't a champion, Jason Sosa wasn't a champion, at the time, Miura, and, all the other guys that he's faced, uh, they are still the better fighters. I thought he fought the top dogs, and I just don't think that Herring can really compete against them. But I still want to see the fight just because they're two champions. Just like I want to see a Tevin Farmer fight, or a Cancio fight. I think Cancio's the weakest out of the four champions up there, but Cancio does have power. So, you can't sleep on him. He'll probably bring a better fight than Lamont Roach Jr. did just based off his power, but his boxing ability is not as good. I think he would probably get hit and possibly hurt if he fought Herring. So Herring, I did hear Herring call him out at the end of the fight. Not the best unification that I would want to see, but Burchell is that guy. He's a guy at 130. So I'm interested in seeing who else Herring is willing to fight next. But I want to see some unification at 130, man. I really do, But anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that. Good performance, decent fight, and I guess that's all I really have to say. Drop your comments below. Make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't already. Dislike the video, and make sure you support the channel. Peace.